Hi guys, welcome back to the channel everyone. I hope you all are doing great. आज के वीडियो में मैं वापस एक बुक रेकमेंड करने वाली हूँ आपको, जिसका नाम है अ मैन्स सर्च फॉर मीनिंग। ये बुक लिखी है ऑथर विक्टर फ्रैंकल ने, जो कि एक अच्छे न्यूरोलॉजिस्ट और एक साइकाइट्रिक प्रोफेसर रह चुके हैं यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ वियना में। आज का वीडियो कोई रिव्यू नहीं होने वाला है। आज मैं सिर्फ 5 ऐसे रीजंस के बारे में बात करूंगी जिनके अकॉर्डिंगली आई थिंक ये बुक सभी को रीड करनी चाहिए। And if you're really interested in knowing what those reasons are, then I would highly appreciate if you all could watch the video till the end. And if you like whatever you're watching so far on this channel, then please take a moment to like, share and subscribe to my channel. And if there are any suggestions or feedback that you may have for me, then please write them down in the comment box below. So without wasting any more time, let's just get started with the video. Alright guys, so before getting into the reasons why I would like to recommend this book to you all, I would like to share a short story why I decided to read this book. So those who have read the book Ikigai would already know कि वो book के authors काफ़ी inspire हुए थे विक्टर फ्रैंकल की इस book से। And I was really curious because मैंने Ikigai तो already पढ़ ली थी and मुझे ये जानना था कि इस book में ऐसा क्या लिखा हुआ है कि इतने ज़्यादा inspire होकर उन दो authors ने एक book लिख दी। So in order to know those reasons, I decided to read this book. I had 2 days of time in my hands and I read this book within 2 days completely because it's a really small book if you can see. ये ज़्यादा मोटी book नहीं है। तो इस book को मैंने complete करने के बाद I'm glad that I read this book because when I researched about this book, I found a lot of people talking about it. And I'm really surprised that till date there are not many people who must be aware of this book or may have not even read this yet. Alright guys, so this book has been divided into 2 parts. The part number 1 talks about the experiences of Viktor Frankl while being under the Nazi concentration camps. And the part number 2 talks about his experiences and based on which he has made this therapy called logotherapy, and it's related to existential crisis. And in this video, I'm not going to be talking about these 2 things in detail at all. I'm just going to highlight the 5 main points or 5 main focus points that I think that you could take away from this book, and those would help you to make a better future. So if you're interested, then please keep on watching. Alright guys, so the number 1 reason that has been highlighted in this book can be summarized using this beautiful quote shared in the book, which states that he who has a why to live for can almost bear anyhow. तो अगर इसे हिंदी में बोले तो इसका मतलब ये होता है कि जहाँ पर चाह है वहीं पर राह है। तो इसके अकॉर्डिंगली जब उनको बहुत सारा टॉर्चर किया जाता था नाज़ी कैंप में, से 20-20 घंटे काम कराया जाता था, लेकिन उनको खाने के लिए बस एक ब्रेड देते थे और उनसे इतना सारा काम करवाने के बाद ना ही उनको कोई पानी पीने के लिए दिया जाता था और ना ही उनको हाथ धोने के लिए तक पानी दिया जाता था। और जो लोग ये काम नहीं कर पाते थे उनको वो लोग एक पॉइजनस गैस चेम्बर में डाल देते थे ताकि उनको वो टॉर्चर कर पाए। और ऐसा बहुत ही अपसेटिंग हमें सिर्फ सुनने में लगता हो, बट इन सब के दौरान जब वो विक्टर फ्रैंकल वॉज गोइंग थ्रू ऑल ऑफ दिस, ही डिसाइडेड टू फोकस ऑन 3 मेन थिंग्स. द नंबर 1 इज वर्क. According to him, he was always thinking about how he would share his experiences after getting out of this phase. So, उन्होंने इस बुक में यही लिखा है कि वो हमेशा इमेजिन करते थे कि जब ये सब बंद हो जाएगा, जब ये सब ख़त्म हो जाएगा, तब वो बाहर आकर अपने एक्सपीरियंसेस कैसे शेयर करेंगे लोगों के साथ. The number 2 thing that he used to focus on was love. Love for his wife. When he was taken under the camp and he was brought to the camp, his wife and his entire family was brutally murdered. Because Nazis बहुत ज़्यादा जालिम थे, वो लोग को किसी और चीज़ से लेना देना ही नहीं था, उनको बस अपना ही रूल चलाना था. And the number 3 thing that he highlighted or he used to keep on thinking about, which is about courage. Courage during these difficult times. He was really courageous, I would say, because he used to always constantly think how to get out of this situation or how to keep himself motivated to live long enough to get through this phase. And these are the 3 things which has been beautifully highlighted in this book. The second and the most important reason highlighted in this book, it's about the salvation of a man is through love and while he is in love. विच मीन्स दैट अगर आप किसी के प्यार में हो और अगर आप बहुत ही डिफ़िकल्ट टाइम से जा रहे हो तो यू कैन डेफिनेटली गेट थ्रू दैट फेज, because if you constantly keep on imagining yourself while being in love or constantly keep on thinking about the people who bring strength to your life, that is how you could get through the difficult phases in life. Because when he was not fed properly, when he was not given proper sleep, when he was worked, he used to constantly think about his wife, and that is how he could get through that entire phase. So he has constantly mentioned in the book that one needs to be in love in order to get through a phase like this. Because if you don't have anything to look up to, if you don't have one person or anything that you would have always constantly loved, you would not feel motivated enough to live for another day. The third point that he has highlighted or talked about in this book, which states that one can get used to anything, which means that the human body is tougher than you actually think. If you must have read several health related books, उसमें हमेशा लिखा होता है that you need to sleep for 7 to 8 hours, you need to follow a certain kind of diet. But imagine the kind of tormentation that these people must have gone through. They did survive the situation. He has constantly mentioned in the book that whichever the situation may be, the human body is made in such a way that it can adapt to the toughest situations. They were hardly given any time to sleep. They were hardly given any food to survive. They were not even given enough water to drink. They did survive in those situations. So he has busted the myth that, a human body is only designed in a certain way and can only function in a certain way. He has emphasized that if you train your brain in such a way that you think that you could survive any particular situation, you will definitely get through it. And that is what exactly he wants to convey through that. He wants us to know that it is not necessary for you to sleep for a good 8 hours. You could probably sleep for 5 to 6 hours and function normally as any human does. Because that is how you need to train yourself, and that is how you need to adapt to those situations. You cannot be complaining of everything in life. The fourth reason that he talks about in this book is to find a meaning in suffering. अब सोचिए, अगर वो खुद इन सारे एक्सपीरियंसेस से अगर गुजरे नहीं होते तो क्या हमें ये बुक कभी रीड करने के लिए मिलती. वो इतने ऑप्टिमिस्टिक थे कि वो हमेशा पॉजिटिविटी ढूंढते थे हर मुश्किल सिचुएशन में. जब वो इन सारी बुरी चीज़ों के थ्रू सफ़र कर रहे थे तब वो यही सोचते थे कि वो अपने सारे एक्सपीरियंसेस दूसरों तक कैसे पहुंचाए. उन्होंने करोड़ों लोगों को बहुत ज़्यादा इंस्पायर किया है अपने बुक के थ्रू. फॉर एग्ज़ाम्पल, अगर हम हमारी बात करें तो हम कुछ भी छोटी चीज़ अगर अफोर्ड कर पाए तो हम कॉन्स्टेंटली उसको ख़रीद लेते हैं. बट कुछ ऐसे भी लोग होते हैं जो छोटी से छोटी चीज़ें नहीं अफोर्ड कर पाते, एंड वो लोग हम इंडियंस बोलते हैं, एक वर्ड है जिसे कहते हैं जुगाड़. तो वो अपनी ऑल्टरनेटिव तरीक़ों से वो सारी चीज़ें अपने लिए आसान करने की कोशिश करते हैं. एंड जो जुगाड़ कर पाते हैं वही लोग ज़्यादा क्रिएटिव होते हैं. जिनके पास सब कुछ रेडीली अवेलेबल हो, उनको बस अपने पैसे खर्च कर कर लाइफ में सब कुछ ईजीली मिल जाता है. बट लेकिन वो अपने क्रिएटिवली ग्रो ही नहीं कर पाते, बिकॉज उनके पास सब कुछ ऑलरेडी अवेलेबल है, तो उनको वो चांस ही नहीं मिलता कि वो और चीज़ें एक्सप्लोर कर पाएँ लाइफ में. बिकॉज पैसे देने से जो भी चीज़ें अवेलेबल है तो लोग ये सोचेंगे ही नहीं कि वो डिफ़िकल्ट तरीके से कैसे ऑब्टेन कर पाएँ. सो वो यही बताना चाहते थे कि हर सफरिंग के पीछे एक रीज़न होता है, एंड एवरी सफरिंग हैज़ अ मीनिंग. If you look into it and if you think about it, everything happens for a reason. And that is what he has beautifully highlighted in this book. The fifth and the final point that Frankl talks about in this book is, according to him, in life you need to have hope, you need to have a meaning and also a future to look up to. Because if you lack these things, you wouldn't have anything to look up to and you would feel less motivated each day. For example, I have so many people around me who don't want to do anything in life. They just go to work, they earn some money and they spend it on themselves. But how long will this last? You need to understand that you need to have a future. You need to be ambitious enough. You need to set some goals for yourself. Because the moment you tick that goal, you feel a sense of achievement. And that is what he is trying to highlight here. If you have a meaning, if you have a purpose, you can definitely live for longer. He has also explained by an example which states about his inmate while he was under the camp. His inmate was constantly imagining that the war would end on 30th of March. But sadly, it never ended. In fact, when he got to know on the 29th of March that this war is not going anywhere and it's still going on and he will have to suffer for a few more years, he just lost his hope. And that is how he fell ill and he started complaining of illness. And it was later found out that he got typhus and he died. But according to Frankl, he had mainly lost the hope. If you have the hope to fight certain things, you wouldn't wait for a particular date. You would constantly keep yourself motivated because you would think of the things that you could possibly do later when things would get better. That is exactly what he wanted to highlight in this. He wanted us to have hope, to have courage, to have a future. And everybody in this today's world lacks that. Even I was demotivated for the longest time. When I started thinking of a few things in my life that I really wanted to correct, I found out that I used to procrastinate a lot, which I ruled out eventually. That is exactly what he wants everybody to do. If you have a purpose in life, you would never feel demotivated. You would feel looking up to your life each and every day. ऑलराइट गाइस, सो फाइनली मैं बस इतना बोलना चाहूँगी कि ये विक्टर फ्रैंकल ने ये बुक काफ़ी ब्यूटीफुली लिखी है, जिसमें उन्होंने अपने सर्वाइवल इंस्टिंक्ट्स के बारे में काफ़ी अच्छे से एक्सप्लेन किया है. एंड अगर वो इतने डिफ़िकल्ट टाइम्स में उन सब चीज़ों को सर्वाइव कर पाए, तो वो यही चाहते हैं कि हम भी अपनी नॉर्मल लाइफ में जब हम इतने बुरे फेज से भी नहीं गुजर रहे हैं, तब हम उससे कैसे फाइट करें और आगे कैसे बढ़े. तो मैं यही बोलूँगी कि आप सभी इस बुक को रीड कीजिए. इट्स ऑल्सो अवेलेबल इन हिंदी ऑन अमेज़ॉन. और ये बुक काफ़ी ही अच्छी लैंग्वेज में लिखी गई है. इसमें काफ़ी अच्छे एक्सपीरियंसेस उन्होंने अपने बताए हैं. एंड जिन्होंने भी ये बुक रीड की है, आई एम श्योर दिस बुक हैज़ चेंज द लाइफ फॉर बेटर. एंड दैट इज़ एग्जैक्टली वॉट आई वॉन्ट ऑल माई व्यूअर्स टू गो थ्रू. I want everybody to prosper and to read this book at least once in their lifetime. And if you do so, then please write down in my comment box and tell me how did you find this book. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Until then, goodbye.